Am I the asshole for walking out of my lecture because the professor mocked a topic related to my culture? So I'm 19 and a first-year university student. Last week in my anthropology class, the professor was lecturing on different belief systems and made a joke about ancestor veneration, saying it was like having dead relatives watching you like spiritual Netflix. Most of the class laughed, but I was silent stoned cause I don't think it's funny at all. I'm half Japanese and in my family honoring ancestors is something taken seriously. We visit graves, make offerings, and participate in traditions like Obon. It's something I grew up with and hearing it reduced to a joke made me really uncomfortable. I didn't make a scene and just quietly left after that, and later on, the professor emailed me saying my behavior was disruptive and I should have brought concerns to office hours. I responded explaining my perspective, but now I'm wondering if I overreacted. Some classmates support me, others say I'm too sensitive. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. I just didn't feel respected, you know. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Walking out silently is in no way disruptive. And there are many reasons to do that in a lecture. Your lecturer needs to grow thicker skin if he gets upset every time a woman silently leaves a lecture. Raising it during office hours, after his tantrum, was exactly what you did. Also, an anthropology lecturer should know better than to mock other cultures. I'd be making a complaint about this, especially after the way he dealt with your concern. No, the reason he emailed you is because he's sweating bullets and hoping you don't make a bigger deal of this. If you complain to the right people, there is a very real chance he would get a reprimand and/or get fired if he's not tenured. There may be some language or cultural differences here, but I fail to see disrespect in his comment. Describing a belief system that ancestors are watching their descendants by using a simile such as, like watching spiritual Netflix, isn't disrespectful in and of itself. So many people in here are so quick to be offended and demand apologies. There's nothing wrong with walking out of a lecture, though. So not the asshole. Professor here. Your instructor is completely out of line, and if you don't get an apology from him, I suggest you forward your correspondence and your concerns about his behavior to his department chair. If he is the chair, forward to the dean, not the asshole. You are the asshole. What they said doesn't really seem disrespectful. The ancestors watching our lives play out like a Netflix show is kind of like how Christians believe God is always watching, isn't it? I also come from a culture of ancestral veneration and have attended ceremonies where we communicate with and honor our ancestors. Are we credulously believing they simply walked out quietly? If so, I'm surprised the professor even noticed, let alone sent a follow-up email. Am I the asshole for booking my son an eye exam just to settle an argument? I, 40-year-old man, have booked my son, let's say less than 10, a meeting with an eye doctor to settle an argument. Some context: my mother-in-law was once an eye nurse, she worked in the industry for ages, and I am sure for everyone else other than family her opinion would be valid. However, she is also stubborn, a liar, and one of those people who is never wrong. You can come at her with facts and she will just, oh well, if it was me, blah blah blah. So fast forward to my son. The school did an eye exam and sent him home with a slip saying we should get his eyes checked. So off to the mall eye place I go and get his eyes tested. They come back with a 1.6. They did multiple tests, drops, scans, etc., and a few weeks later, boom. He has glasses. Fast forward a few more weeks and almost everything the mother-in-law takes the kids, she sneakily ensures my son doesn't have his glasses. She has even said on a few occasions, oh, you don't need those. What makes it worse is it bleeds over to my partner. She has started getting relaxed with my son's glasses and on occasions has taken him out some mornings without his glasses. I can't help but shake the feeling that the mother-in-law and on some level my partner are hurt that I just acted and got him glasses. For some more context, my other son also has had glasses and has worn them for ages, so as soon as the other son's diagnosis came in I just acted as if no big deal. So here I find myself at the position that I want to sit down with my partner and an independent eye doctor and get their view if all this glasses on glasses off things are hurting his eyes or not. Thoughts? Just some added context, 1.5 means he is short-sighted and therefore can see his writing but stuff on the board could be fuzzy. Also for more context, I wore glasses my whole life and ended up with 7.4 in both eyes before I got them lasered. My oldest also has glasses with a 3.4 in both eyes. Update. I realize my language term of boomer is causing some people harm. I apologize and will amend. Not the asshole, your son was already tested and needs glasses, and your wife and mother-in-law aren't accepting that. You're right to set up a new eye exam to settle the argument because the argument needs to be settled. Does your insurance cover it, and when was the last eye exam? You all should be getting examined yearly anyway if your insurance covers it. Not the asshole. I don't think a visit to the optometrist is even necessary. He got a prescription. He needs glasses. He has glasses. The fact your partner, the mother of the kid, is okay with her son being unable to see clearly is wild to me. Like, what kind of mom wants their kid to be unable to see clearly and vividly? Ask her flat out why she would do this. Ask her if she needs an optometrist to speak with her. Ask her why she'd want her kid squinting or being unable to see. Sorry to say, but you are the asshole for not standing up to your mother-in-law and telling her to back off. You're the parent, you're in charge of your son, and what you say goes. You should be having a discussion with your wife as well. Not the asshole. Your mother-in-law and wife should be encouraging him to wear his glasses so his vision doesn't deteriorate quicker. They are doing him a huge disservice by telling him he doesn't need them. I actually had my 8-yo at the optometrist yesterday. She is getting glasses for the first time. Our doctor said it's really important to encourage kids to wear their glasses properly to keep their vision at the best it can be. I remember the day when my mom took me to get glasses as a child, and I realized that trees really did have leaves. I was, and am, 4.75 in one eye and 5.0 in the other. Absolutely not the asshole for making sure your son can flip and see. Eyesight impacts everything from social interaction to schoolwork to his safety. Please read this with your wife. Not giving your son full correction, i.e., wearing glasses, is more likely to make his eyes worse. There are other things you can do to increase the likelihood that his eyes can stabilize. Am I the asshole for asking my boyfriend to stop talking about my body? TW. Body image, body fat percentage. I am a semi-pro athlete in a weight class sport, and after years of working with my coach we discovered the best method for me to make weight is to do a calorie cut to get me to around 13–15% body fat, which for me personally is below my healthiest percentage, but high enough that I can still perform, and I water cut the rest of the weight. Please note, I only stay at the low body fat percentage in the weeks before my competition, then I jump straight into a high calorie diet to gain a healthy level of fat back. My sport has nothing to do with looks and is strictly a performance sport, but I particularly love how small my boobs get, because at a healthier percentage they become quite large to the point I have considered a reduction. My boyfriend knows this. I am now at my lowest weight I will be until my next comp, and he started making comments about how he's so excited for my weight to come back up so my boobs get bigger. I told him he's welcome to think that, but please don't say it, as it's oddly frustrating for him to wish, out loud, for something I dread most about gaining weight. After I asked him to stop talking about my chest, he stopped directly commenting on it but would drop comments like, "Just imagine how great you'll look next month," while staring directly at my chest. So that turned to me asking him just not to comment on my body until after I performed. He got quite frustrated with me and said it's unreasonable for me to expect him to say nothing about my body. I don't totally disagree, but I also feel that if he can't do it without innuendos about my chest, that he should probably just stop. I'm not asking him to stop commenting on my body forever, but to just sort of wait. Not the asshole. It's kind of sad that it seems like all he cares about are your boobs being big. What if you got cancer and had mastectomies, or what if you decided to stay slimmer? Would he not be okay with that? I think we all have preferences on what our partners should look like, but reality is we love them for who they are. All the comments on your chest size are strange and would make me uncomfortable too. Not the asshole. It's unreasonable for me to expect him to say nothing about my body. No, it's not. Is this person not in control of their own faculties? Is he under a curse and can't shut the fuck up? Maybe that one. Is one of you in some kind of Truman Show and this has to be done for the plot? Somehow I doubt all of them. If you point out something he has total control over is making you uncomfortable and you want him to stop, that should be the end of it. That's like a bare minimum respect kind of thing. Would you do the same to him if he said he's self-conscious about his receding hairline? Would you try to sidestep his request by saying something like, "Oh wow, I heard you can get hair restoration done pretty cheap in Turkey"? I doubt it. Not the asshole. It bothers you and you tell him to stop, he stops. If he doesn't stop, he's an asshole. It's really that simple from a who is being an asshole perspective. Not the asshole. Please get rid of a partner that talks about your body this way. It is not a compliment. It is a backhanded comment that he doesn't like you as you are. He is not a good supportive person. But also, please consult a doctor not related to your sports and find out if this weight fluctuation you engage in could be potentially unhealthy and taking years off your life. Dropping below weight and then gaining it all back quickly over and over again cannot be good on your heart. Obviously, if you have done this already and all is well, or you know the risks, then ignore this. But just food for thought, I know a lot of bodybuilders have health troubles from the weight fluctuations. I say all that with love and respect. Not the asshole. That's really off-putting and I would be turned off. NTA start saying you can't wait for him to lose weight so his male parts can start looking bigger. He's being rude AF. Am I the asshole for telling my wife she's an adult and responsible for waking up on her own? My wife and I had an argument this morning about me not waking her up on time to get ready for work. Some context, we have a 5-month-old baby boy, so it can be difficult sometimes to get ready in the morning. Anyway, she had the opportunity to get ready about an hour before me, but decided to sleep in a little longer with our son. Our son doesn't sleep well on his own, so he will sleep if being held. I said alright, that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and get ready. It takes me about 30 minutes to get ready, shave, shower, clothes, hair, etc. Once I got ready, I had to get our son's milk ready for daycare. I'm at the sink thawing out his frozen milk when she comes into the kitchen upset that I let her sleep in that long. She kept asking why didn't I come up to make sure she was awake. She has alarms set on her phone to go off every 5 minutes. Normally I would go upstairs to the bedroom to get ready and check if she's awake, but I already had clothes downstairs from some laundry I hadn't taken up yet, so I got dressed downstairs. I assumed she would already be awake from her alarms, but she kept insisting I should have taken more initiative to wake her up. I told her that she's an adult and that I'm not responsible for making sure she's awake all of the time. She said that what I said was mean, but I was just being real. I offered to finish getting our son ready and drop him off at daycare and let her have more time to get ready, but she just does this thing where she refuses my help no matter how much I try to make the situation better. I don't know if this something postpartum she's going through that I'm not understanding. I'm genuinely confused by why this became such a big issue. Am I the asshole? Edit. Just to clarify to everyone, our son does sleep on his own in the bassinet, just not for very long. We try not to co-sleep, especially since we are beginning to transition him to the crib. We are very aware of the dangers on co-sleeping, but we try our best not to make it a habit. When you're an exhausted parent functioning with little to no sleep, you don't realize it when you're dozing off. I apologize, I made it seem he's always glued to us. As for the comments about night routine, yes, I am up whenever my son wakes up for his feedings. I do not get a full night of rest and haven't gotten one since he's been born, so we both are equally tired. I do not leave all of the responsibility of the night feedings to my wife. Info. If your baby won't sleep without being held, realistically how much sleep is your wife actually getting, and how often are you the one having your sleep interrupted by your child? I'm sure I don't have to tell you life with a baby is exhausting. You and your wife are supposed to be a team. Why would your response to her struggling to wake up in the morning when she's likely very sleep-deprived be so rude and uncompassionate? Yes, she's an adult, but families actually are responsible for one another's well-being to a certain extent. You are not responsible for waking her up, but she is exhausted. If you are not helping with the baby at night, you should be. I can also see her being madder about you not waking her up if you get to sleep all night and all the baby care is on her overnight. I feel like that info about nighttime baby care makes a big difference in this. Info. How often do you hold your son and care for him all night so your wife can get a night of uninterrupted sleep? Our son doesn't sleep well on his own, so he will only sleep if being held. Your mutual decision to go along with the problem is making the situation worse. Everyone sucks here. Managing jobs and a baby is hard, frustrating work. You and your wife are on the same team. It's unproductive to snipe at each other over minor nonsense, then run to Reddit to get strangers on your side. Your response to her initial complaint should have been, "Sorry, I thought you were awake," not, "You're an adult and I'm not responsible for you." And that should have been the end of it from her side as well. You are the asshole, you're sleeping through the night while she is awake doing childcare you're neglecting. Grow up. If you notice your partner has slept through alarms and needs to be up for a commitment, wake them up. Judgment would be different if you did not have a newborn, and she said, "I'm no longer using alarms and expect you to wake me up." How many nights do you spend holding the baby so he sleeps? Full nights. How much time are you spending awake at night? I'd be willing to be that you are full score getting more sleep, rest than she is. Has your wife had a full night of sleep since baby was born? She's also nursing and pumping, exhausting in and of itself. Also, that having to hold the baby thing is y'all's doing for holding him all the time. That needs to be undone. There is no reason a 5-month-old needs to be held to stay asleep.